اللقاء الجهوي لافريقيا والشرق الاوسط لشراكة الحكومة المنفتحة الذي يركز هذه السنة على الاستفادة من مناهج الحكومة المنفتحة لتعزيز تقديم الخدمات العمومية في المنطقة من خلال مكافحة الفساد والابتكار الرقمي والولوج إلى العدالة والمشاركة المواطنة. التنمية مسؤولية مشتركة، معا يمكننا بناء منطقة منفتحة ومزدهرة.
مبادرة الحكومة المنفتحة هي واحد المبادرة دولية اللي انطلقت في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية في سنة 2011 اللي الهدف ديالها هي أنه الحكومات تشرك المواطنين والمجتمع المدني في صياغة السياسات العمومية، وأيضا تخدم معهم بشفافية وتشارك معهم معلومات أكثر. المغرب اليوم هو البلد الوحيد في شمال إفريقيا وفي الشرق الأوسط اللي تيكون في اللجنة ديال القيادة ديال هذه المبادرة. واليوم المغرب عنده الشرف ديال احتضان اللقاء الجهوي ديال إفريقيا والشرق الأوسط اللي حاضرين فيه الممثلين ديال عدد كبير ديال الدول. كانت فرصة باش نشاركوا معهم التجربة المغربية مثلا في صياغة النموذج التنموي الجديد بطريقة تشاركية، وأيضا صياغة الاستراتيجية الوطنية الرقمية اللي نقوم بالصياغة ديالها اليوم بطريقة تشاركية. كانت أيضا فرصة باش نستفدوا من التجارب ديال الدول الأخرى ونشوفوا التجارب اللي نقدروا نتعلموا منها في المغرب ونستفدوا منها باش نشاركوا المواطنات والمواطنين أكثر في صياغة السياسات العمومية في المستقبل إن شاء الله.
My name is Sanjay Pradhan. I'm the CEO of the Open Government Partnership, which is a partnership of 77 countries, 106 local governments, and thousands of civil society organizations, including 15 countries and 23 local governments in Africa and the Middle East. The purpose of this gathering is to connect and collect reformers from government and civil society from around 43 African countries. They are here. The goal is to join forces in advancing concrete reforms that deliver better governance for citizens. And what does that mean? They are joining together to advance reforms that fight corruption. For instance, Kenya and Nigeria advancing reforms to open up procurement contracts or company ownership, which can often be the source of corruption. The second area that these reformers are advancing is to empower citizens to shape public policies or public services so that it responds to their needs. For instance, in Ghana, the Shama municipality is advancing reforms to enhance citizen participation in planning and implementing development projects. In Kaduna, Nigeria, there was an audit which found that a health clinic paid by the budget only existed on paper. It was a ghost clinic. So through OGP, this partnership I'm talking about, the budget director created a mobile app and partnered with citizens to give feedback on whether they're getting the health services that are paid by the budget. It led to a record completion of health clinics. A third area that these reformers are advancing is inclusion of marginalized groups, people who don't have a voice, the poor, the marginalized. So for instance, in Côte d'Ivoire, they do participatory budgeting, which means, the budget can be a distant thing, but women's groups have come together to set priorities of the budget and fund projects that respond to their needs. In Jordan, the reformers are empowering youth in the formation of their national youth strategy. So these are examples of what these reformers and activists gathered here are trying to do, which is to advance ambitious reforms which make a difference in citizens' lives by fighting corruption, by improving public service delivery, and by including historically marginalized groups.
Safo Mafo, Senior Presidential Advisor and the Minister responsible for the public sector reform in Ghana. I'm also the Chairman of the Open Government Steering Committee in Ghana and therefore responsible for anything to do with open government in our country. We have tried as much as possible to create laws which makes open government easy. Because if you rely on voluntary information, it doesn't work. People must do the things right by law. And this is typical of all the British colonies. So we have a new company code which has replaced an old one. And in this company code, the ownership of whoever forms a company must be declared in detail, particularly where you have people who are politically exposed involved. Then we are very keen about who they are, where they come from, the details about themselves. We also realize that Ghana as a country is a major mineral exporting country. We export gold, diamonds, bauxite, manganese, and most of the ownership are foreign multinationals. And therefore, open government is extremely important to us. Otherwise, there are all kinds of cover-up in the whole extraction. And I would say that within the last 5 years, we have put a lot of laws in place. We have the Ghana Extractive Industry Law, which makes it mandatory for every mining company to declare who the owners are, where they come from, and what they represent. We have access to information law, we have a public information law, which also makes it mandatory for certain information to be disclosed to the public. And now, to register a company in Ghana, we need to know who are the beneficial owners of these companies. You cannot just use any name which is not recognized, which is covered up, and if they are owned by companies who own these other companies, so that we are able to trace back the actual owners and then we deal with them accordingly. So our aim is transparency in governance. Our aim is to make sure that we have total information about who are owning these operative companies. And so far, so good.
قبل ما تخرجوا ما تنساوش تابوناو في لاشين يوتيوب وتبارطاجيو لا فيديو مع صحابكم ومواقع التواصل الاجتماعي. ما تنساوش ديروا جيم وتضغطوا على الجرس باش يوصلكم جديد ديالنا.